Team Secret from the Philippine region. And a lot of eyes on Team Secret, as our panelists have mentioned. They're looking for a pretty big win for Secret here.
Early action already coming in from Team Secret. They're pressuring Papa out. There was a heal expended coming in from David, as well as a heal and ignite being used by Chewy and James. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, they're trying to get some lane prio. Azar, again, just forcing Artsy away. I do like this from Team Secret. Understand their win conditions. Get early, lane priority, burn summer spells if you have to, because Trevor needs to be able to walk into the jungle to make something happen, get vision for his team, maybe even combat Pagor in a 1v1 to try and go in for this early aggressive invades.
Yahtzee brought down really low, still has the Honey Fruit, but that's both ignites used by Team Secret, and so losing a little bit of early aggression potentially with that, but it does set the Orianna relatively behind, but you can see just heals right up after the Honey Fruit's picked up. Instead, let's take a look back down towards his Dragon Lane, because you always talk about how Kai'Sa, Galio are one of the few champions that can actually deal with the Xayah Rakan. It looks like this could be a good window for Team Secret to get some space and start roaming towards the mid side.
Yep, I was explaining the matchup to the casters as well. The reason Xayah Rakan has such trouble with this Kai'Sa Galio is because you don't present as much of a threat, right? Normally, Rakan wants to go in with the grand entrance and possibly threaten a kill, but the moment he jumps in, Galio has a response. Taunt into Justice Punch to keep him in place so that he can't kite backwards. So as a result, Team Secret have a aggressive bot lane that always has prio, always is able to poke out with the Winds of War, and I think Autoluz brought up a good point. Why not just pick Leona? Well, Leona doesn't have the wave clear, she doesn't have the range poke coming in from the Galio, which allows them to set up the wave, set up the push, and consistently threaten a dive here, as we can see from Team Secret's side.
You can see that Galio is actually hovering right around that 80% pick ban rate throughout all these games, so it's such a big priority for a lot of these teams, and for good reason, because like you mentioned, they could set up for that dive potential. This forces MVP to make an early recall, a lot slower pace of a game than what we've seen so far. Elba just about to hit 5, you can see Pagor hovering around this Baron lane, they might be able to look for this. Walks right in under Fiora, Fiora up on the turret, 2v1, looking to try and survive this, but guess what? Tatsuri in here to join the fight to get good damage onto the Fiora, but the moonfall coming to lock down the Garen, and he's gone. It's a double kill for Team Secret to start off this game.
Azar played that dive perfectly. He soaked all the damage with the riposte that allowed Tatsuri to make the rotation up. That was perfect timing. If he was 1 second late on the riposte, Tatsuri would have came in after Azar died, and he probably would have died as well. So I like the communication from Team Secret. I like that they understand their windows, because Pagor, after seeing Papa and David back off, he knows, bot lane, I can't make a play there. I have to go top.
Aggression coming in for the bottom side of MVP as they look for the catch on the Chewy, who has to flash away. James comes in with the Winds of War to get the taunt. Meanwhile, up towards the Baron lane, Albert finds his revenge and gets the kill onto Azar. Let's take a look over the Pagor, because he makes his way down towards this Dragon lane. But Tatsuri has his number. He walks right over, forces them to back off. And okay, so it's a good trade back for MVP, but Team Secret prevent any more losses.
I love that they're answering so well, and this stems from that level 1 we saw in the mid lane earlier, because Tatsuri got help from Azar. They both burned their ignites, and as a viewer you might be, well, that's trolling, you know, now they don't have kill potential in the lane. But by doing so, Artsy has to play on the back foot. This allows Tatsuri to rotate around the map and answer any move that Pagor is trying to make, right? The moment he shows up, Diana is there, she's ready to counter engage with the Moonfall and jump back in. So Team Secret, they're using the mid lane as a proxy, not using Trevor, by the way. They're not using the Olaf to counter gang, they're using the Diana. And in this process, it is the jungle for Team Secret that's getting a hit.
Collapse coming in from MVP, perhaps. They're looking to try and get the kill onto the Olaf. Trevor has to flash away and use the Ragnarok. It's a flash from James as well. And with this, MVP should be able to collapse on this Inferno Drake. There's not much more they can do here. Great rotation from MVP to start off and pick up the Dragon. Meanwhile, Azor looking to try and free farm up in the Baron lane, but it should just be a quick pickup for MVP.
Yep, I believe Team Secret here make the right move by backing off, not contesting that.
Oh my goodness! The Crescent Strike connects as the kill headed over to Tatsuri. So at least finds one kill back for that Dragon. I'm not sure if they can get anything else here. But as you were saying, Hungry?
Yep, the fact that they back off the Inferno, they don't fight, and Tatsuri finds a bonus, a freebie in the mid lane. Now they're ahead in terms of gold, just purely off of Azar and Tatsuri, as we see the 2v1 coming in.
Exactly what you were talking about. A new challenger approaches and Albert loses his life. It's claimed by the Galio. James makes a great rotation after assisting this mid lane. liking what they're doing right now, and they're finding a bit of their footing. They may have lost that dragon, but honestly, with a 3,000 gold lead, they kind of nullify that effect.
This is why we see the Galio so high priority in the draft, right? They get the early advantage in the Dragon lane. James instantly rotates top. This is the value of the side lane Fiora combined with the Galio. You never get a fair fight as Albert, and now you can see the engage coming in.
Jump right onto Papa. Papa uses that Feather Storm, tries to move out the way from the Olaf, but Olaf joining in the Killer Instinct to reposition on top of the Xayah, but it's a flash away, and both summoners used by Papa to get out that fight.
A bit of ambitious attempt coming from Team Secret. They tried to set that one up, but they don't have the lockdown because it is an Olaf jungle. He kind of have to chase. He will have to chase them down as opposed to, you know, getting an instantaneous burst off or locking them in place. Itemization is new here. We see the Death's Dance first item for Trevor. Traditionally, we see Black Cleaver. We see potentially even Trinity Force, but this Death Dance just signals that Trevor's looking to skirmish. He's looking to fight. He does want to stay on the map as much as possible, not having a recall. He wants to stay in the thick of the fight as well. And I think Team Secret understand their win conditions here. They know Azar is big in the side lane once he gets fed. All we need is Trevor to just kind of soak damage, you know, take our 4v5s very slowly, allow Azar to play the side lane.
I think this kind of goes back to the composition as well, because Team Secret, they're not playing with the Seraphine Sona like we've seen from some of the games. Instead, this time around, a lot more engage focused, a lot more skirmish focused, and so Olaf kind of has to go for some sustain on his own. He can't really rely on a Seraphine Sona to help out. Meanwhile, Mufo connects over onto the Xayah. The Xayah should be able to get the damage on this. They get the knockout out for the Rakan, and so David continues with the aggression, but Team Secret moving in position to try and stop this one out. Hagar starts up the Rift Tower, and so MVP looking for this fight. It's difficult for Tatsuri to join back in, but he grabs the teleport, might just come into lane, or come into the Rift Tower pit and force away MVP. They're starting this one out. Azar not in this, but neither is Elbot. Okay, here we go. Fight breaks out. David jumps in. Red team does manage to secure it, so Team Secret grab the Rift Tower to start off the fight. The Redemption gonna come in as Gallo uses the ultimate to dive back into the back. Gets out of this one. Shockwave not able to connect. It's a pincer coming on the multiple sides. Tatsuri jumps back in, looking a little bit aggressive, trying to go back in on this. But gets hit by the Grand Challenge, but Azar not going to dive into the 5 members of MVP to just back off. Instead, goes right back onto the Garen, looking to try to do the best that he can. They move back on the Pego, who has to flash away in the mid lane. And the fight extends so long. They finally manage to take down the Fiora and try to move on to Trevor, but can't quite find anything here.
Azar a bit too greedy on the ending notes of that play, but we saw how Team Secret wants to navigate these 5v5s. They want to drag it out, they want to kite around, and because there's Death's Dance available for Trevor, he's always going to be, you know, kind of high on effective health, right? Remember that Olaf as a champion is more effective the lower health he is, so that Death's Dance actually gives him a lot more sustain, a lot more combat potential as opposed to something like a Black Cleaver or even a Trinity Force, right? I do like this pickup, especially now that he's gone for the Gargoyles, Stoneplate, Enchant. Means that his health pool, his effective health pool, and the amount of sustain he can, you know, use to bring himself back to full is just that much bigger.
And so with a couple more pickups as well now, getting the Gargoyle Stoneplate plus that Phage is just going to be a nice little pickup for the Olaf, and we'll have to see what they can do with this, because Dragon coming up now is going to be the Cloud Drake. Looking at how MVP have been playing this one out, I think they should be putting a little bit more emphasis around it, considering they also have 5 members just stacking towards this Dragon. Whereas Team Secret, you know, they looked a little bit hesitant to try and commit too much for this. Instead, Azar actually on the other side looking to just pick up the Scuttle Crab here.
He's wasting a lot of time not pushing the turret down, and you can see here this communication from Team Secret is a bit disjointed. They aren't deciding whether they want to play the side lane or contest the Dragon. Right now, they will make the call, drop the Herald mid, group up for this Dragon contest, hopefully pick up mid tier 1 first, and force MVP into a bad spot.
Okay, Elbut just does his best to clear out the wave. Meanwhile, over on the side, James looks to get caught out, but it's a lot of damage onto a very tanky Galio, and James still alive after all. That shot connects onto 2. They look to go back on the Treble. Treble pops the Gargoyle Stoneplate, has to flash away, and Tatsuri in a bad spot, so Diana just going to have to get out of that. Meanwhile, we just see Chewy continue to push out the bot wave, but Papa and Pegor both making their way down to collapse onto this Kaisa, and Chewy does not have the means to fight this, has to flash out back towards the turret. Jumping back in, it's going to be a safeguard from the Lee Sin as they manage to collect the kill, claimed up by Papa, and they move on to Dragon.
Yep, this is a free Dragon because Team Secret, they messed up their communication. We saw 2 big issues there. One is they couldn't decide whether they want to collapse on the Dragon. They made the best call they could at that moment. Drop the Herald. Oh, hold on.
Papa looking to go down for the Ignite. Nice shoot coming out from David, who managed to find the safety just in time. Has to flash in, but the Crescent Strike comes through anyway. Diana with the claim kill. They lose Dragon, but they manage to find Papa back. It's not the best exchange for Team Secret, who have, well, still sitting at that 5,000 gold lead, but it doesn't feel as great with how badly some of these exchanges have gone.
It's because they've been fighting so awkwardly, right? They can't make these calls to kind of handshake fights properly. Azar is still going to be dealing relatively well with the Garen in the side lane, but whenever they choose these fights, they have to decide, are we going to kite it out and allow Azar to side lane, or are we going to handshake this fight in a full clean 5-on-5? I think the play right now, the best thing they should be doing is to allow Azar to just split push on the side lane, given his lead as well as his itemization. He doesn't have the TP, so there should be no reason for them to really handshake a 5-on-5 because Azar cannot join in unless he's with them already.
Let's quickly take a look towards the items from Azar and Albert as well, because you talk about Azar has to go for that split push, has to try and set up the fights efficiently with the Galio, already completes the Triforce and the Blade of the Rune King. That's a nice power spike compared to the Sunfire Cape and the Thornmail out from Garen.
Even with, all the armor on the Thornmail side, healing reduction, Azar is still going to be doing a significant amount of damage just purely from proccing the vitals. So that is an issue that will not go away the longer this game goes on. In fact, it's only going to get worse for Albert as the game goes on. So Team Secret, they have a very strong win condition now. Fiora in the side lane combined with Galio, they don't have to handshake these 5-on-5s, they don't have to take these team fights, as long as they can avoid getting jumped by MVP, which is a lot easier said than done because they have a Rakan, they have Pekor on the Lee Sin looking to insect people in, and they have a Shockwave to force a fight.
But Team Secret making the best of the situation. They get some control around the Baron, and so MVP are forced to walk into them. They don't have much intel, instead just going to have to be content to get a couple of wards off. This is stalling a little bit from Team Secret's side because they aren't getting much done here. You just take a look at Tatsuri, who's split pushing down in the Dragon lane. Of course, he has that teleport, so can join back into the fight relatively quickly. But you can see this is just stalling for time. They haven't been able to get all too much done. MVP, on the other hand, clearing out the jungle camps, clearing out the waves, and they're just crashing and scaling back up, closing this gold gap.
The later the game goes on, though, the better it is for Team Secret because they have a scaling Kai'Sa. Oh, hold on, bot side.
Might be able to find the solo kill onto the Garen. Tatsuri with good damage onto Albert, but Albert still very tanky.
Down
has
Baron.
both summoner spells. They're not looking to try and commit onto this. Teleport coming out as Tatsuri moves into the Baron pit to join in with the rest of his team. Should be able to find this. Jumping in, Pagon looks to try and steal that one away. Cannot quite find it. Instead, it's going to be headed over to Team Secret. Jumping back in, Chewie moves into the Rakan, takes him down, claims that kill, and so it's a trade back. Azar goes down, but they find the Baron and David.
This is a smart play, actually, or rather an adaptation coming in, because they realize that if Azar doesn't want to be on the side lane, he doesn't have TP, we'll make sure that Tatsuri is the one pushing on the bot side with the TP and Chan, and because he's so fit, because he is 5-0-0, he's able to start these fights with the Moonfall and essentially pressure out MVP whenever they choose to engage or handshake a fight. He's 4-0-1 right now. He has the Death Cap, he has the Rod of Ages completely stacked up. So this is the point where, if you're MVP, you're more worried about Tatsuri than Azar. In fact, because all the itemization on Albert, apart from the Spectre's Cowl, is mostly health and armor, he doesn't deal very well against the Diana.
That's exactly right, Hungry. He just managed to get the Spectral Call to give him a little bit of magic resist, but it's so insignificant compared to what we see from Tatsuri, especially since completing 3 items at this point, it's a little bit difficult to deal with. Meanwhile, Dragon gonna spawn up, so Team Secret, they probably want to collect this, otherwise could just try and crash out the waves. Azar finally split pushing in the alternate lane. He still does not have the teleport, instead opting for that rocket belt, so it's gonna be a very different dynamic. Thankfully, Albert does not as well. He goes for this Gargoyle Stone Plate. So both sides will not be able to join into the fight, but I think it's actually more beneficial for Team Secret to just hold the Garen in the side lane.
100%. And also because he has Baron buff, remember that these waves push very quickly and Garen cannot clear them out. There's a response here from Team Secret too, because they have an enhanced Baron recall. They can just back off and then reset near the Dragon Pit whenever they feel the timing is right. So in a way, this is like a scuffed TP and Chan if you think about it that way. And this is what Team Secret is abusing in the side lane.
So they grab the mid lane as well as the side lane turret. They're looking for that last one, that tier 2 down in the Dragon lane, as the Baron is going to run out pretty soon. So it looks like they're just going to make their way to the Dragon for now.
There you go. He's gonna back off. They're gonna reset onto the Dragon. In fact, Tatsuri and Trevor are already starting it up, and these are the people, these are the 2 members that present the most kill threat, right? The reason why Trevor is gonna be scaling better than the Lee Sin, mostly because of Ragnarok. Once he has items and he has Ragnarok and he has Stoneplate now, He pops it, he runs to the back line. It doesn't matter if you use Featherstorm, it doesn't matter if you charm him or try to catch him with the Shockwave. He is still going to get onto Papa. He's still going to be able to kill off both Atsi and Papa.
Bit of a reset coming out from Team Secret. They've now secured themselves a 10,000 gold lead, which is just about what you like to see from a lot of these teams in the lead, because this is the point where you really start to be able to close out the game well. Baron going to be coming up again, and you take a look towards the items, they're sitting around 3.5, whereas you take a look towards MVP side, still around 2 items, still looking at that third, trying to complete that. So Team Secret in a very dominant position here. I'm liking what they've been able to do this game. It's a lot more methodical. They've opened up the base, 6 turrets on Team Secret side, whereas MVP have only responded with the 1.
Right now, you can see on your minimap what Team Secret are doing as they're leaning James to the side lanes, right? In this case, the strong point is Tatsuri. He's always going to be within out distance so that when Tatsuri gets ganked or they collapse on him, he can come in to reset and help him get a window back into the fight. So they're abusing the global, hero's entrance stall time for Tatsuri to put pressure on the side.
And it's done so well for him. Look at that. He almost took down Yahtzee, and that forces away the barrier as well as some time away from MVP. James moving into position, looks for the catch onto the Zaya, couldn't quite find it. Instead, jump into the back. It's going to be Tatsuri looking to join in, but he gets taken down, doesn't even have time to use his ultimate. And so it's a bad fight for Team Secrets. MVP collecting kill after kill, now jumping onto James next. Instead, they've looked to finish off Trevor, and so it's a double kill for Papa. They move on to the Baron 3 dead on the side of Secret, who've managed to throw that lead and lose that team fight. It's a bad spot for them. MVP should be able to find this as Team Secret makes their way down towards the bomb side instead.
Look at the minimap. If they can get the inhibitor, it's gonna be slightly better, but at the end of it, because they have the enhanced Baron recall, Team Secret are unable to really find anything on the map, and I want to cast your eyes or your memories back to the start of that fight. Because he has teleport enchant instead of the stasis, whenever he engages, he is liable to getting melted, right? And what we saw there was exactly what happened. Jumps in, gets caught by 5 members, instantly dies before the hero's entrance is able to save him, and as a result, now he's gonna have to swap over to the stasis because he knows he's getting 1 shot. He knows if he's engaging for his team, that stasis buys him a 1.5 for James to come in and reset the fight for him.
I think he was silenced in that fight too, so couldn't even do anything, couldn't use the Moonfall. I think if he had the Hourglass, that probably could have saved him, gave him some time to come back in and join into the fight when his team was ready to collapse. But so you're absolutely right, they go over for the Hourglass enchant instead. Pegor managed to steal away the blue buff, and so it's just going to annoy Team Secret a little bit as MVP find their footing and get some control in this game. They're making their way down towards the bottom side now, looking to try and pick this turret, and they have the wave coming in as well. And so the gold lead has become significantly smaller. It's looking at a 3,000 gold lead, almost 4K for Team Secret, and so it's become a pretty even game for both sides.
The Baron buff cuts both ways, Brandon. Remember this. If the enemy has the Baron buff, it's that much more difficult for you to clear the wave out. When you have Baron buff, it's tougher for them to clear the wave out. So you can see that Azar here is struggling to really just make sure that the wave is thinned out before he arrives in the inhibitor. Both top and bot inhibitor, or Baron and Dragon inhibitor, have taken quite a lot of chip damage. So as long as they can consistently get these good fights, MVP have already started degrading the base of Team Secret. They're going to be able to siege and raise it very quickly.
And Papa just doesn't need that Father's Day buff. He comes in here, he's 4-1 and 3 right now.
Oh yeah,
he's that big carry for MVP with 7 out of 8 kills to his 7 out of 8 kill participation. He's been in almost every single fight where they managed to win. And he's been in such dominant control despite the fact that Chewie had a lot more assistance, and now he's actually in the gold lead. And so a lot of damage on the Zaya, he's a big priority target. We'll have to see whether Tatsuri can actually lock down on the Zaya. Of course, you take a look at him right now, he has that Rocket Belt, he has the Guardian Angel plus the Feather Storm. There's so many tools in his pocket that can help him get away from these sticky situations.
And you might be asking, why Rocket Belt over Stasis Enchant? I kind of explained this, or I alluded to this, because of Trevor running at him with Ragnarok. You don't want to, be stuck in a position where you can't run away. The Proto Belt gives you, hold on, engage here.
Okay, engage comes out. Pegor is going to look for the kick back, but instead Trevor hit up with the Ragnarok, so doesn't get knocked in. MVP, okay, here we go. The fight breaks out. They're looking for the catch over onto Papa. Papa uses the Feather Storm to get away. They jump back in. James looking for the taunt now, but still with the Guardian Angel. The Shockwave connects into the back line of Team Secret to get good damage onto Papa with the Moonfall, but is it going to be enough? Tatsuri goes down. Looking like Azar goes down too. And so Team Secret forced to run for their lives. His MVP still up for the chase. They're still coming in. Yahtzee with the flash forward, looked to the damage on the treble, but could not find the execute. Instead, they moved back onto the Eldrick, and with Baron coming up in 20 seconds, there's little to nothing Team Secret can do to stop this.
Dude, a bookmaker right now will put the game's odds for MVP at like 90%. After they get this as well as the Baron, it might be 99%, right? And the reason the fight went so badly for Team Secret was because Trevor was the one that got caught out. He should be the one engaging. He needs to be the one running in. And Team Secret handshook a really weird fight after that. Azar decided, hey, if they're focusing Trevor, there's a window here for me. He's going in, right? But remember that Fiora never wants to be the one to engage. She wants to be the one to clean up. When all the focus is on the Fiora, she's gonna melt. She's gonna die. And that's exactly what happened there.
And that's doubly true for Tatsuri as well. You know, he jumps in, tries to take down Papa, but didn't even proc his Guardian's Angel. So you can see how difficult it is to go for this big priority target. And I'm starting to feel it's a little bit too difficult. It's a little bit too late for Team Secret to come back in. They just haven't been able to find this. The Fiora hasn't been able to play to the way that you want it. It's a Globe Baron Slain for MVP. Azar just hasn't been able to get the game that he wants. He's 0-5 right now in the Fiora. That's not where you want to be. And as the Garen scales up to that 6-item power spike, he's very difficult to deal with for the Fiora. I know the Vital Procs, like you mentioned, it's kind of skill and trump that overall anyway, but it takes so much time to actually chip down the Garen, and they don't have. That's the one thing they do not have. As Team Secret, Hamed looking to get chased down. He wants to find the hero's entrance to get out, but it's only going to be that Fiora down towards the bomb side. They managed to pick up the top inhibitor turret, and now looking at this mid 1-2.
Yep, they're gonna pick this one easily because James is still really far away. You don't have that cover of the hero's entrance. This might actually be game if they can push in. They're forcing a recall and a teleport out. They cancel the teleport, and this is game, I think.
And that's going to be the Nexus, looking pretty low, pretty tantalizing. The Moonfall connects over onto Papa, but Papa still has a Guardian Angel and won't stop him as he just continues the free hit, the Nexus, but it's a little bit too much. They just don't have the minion wave crashing in. Papa comes back with the double kill, pulls back, locks down, and claims the Kaisa kill. Treble running for his life, but he goes down anyway. And there's not much more for Team Secret as MVP